Hello and welcome to La Jolla Babylon, Season 1, The Making of a Suburban Punk, a podcast where I tell stories of my unsupervised Gen X youth to my coddled millennial little sister who happens to be the funniest person I know, the writer, actor, and comedian Katie Hartman. I'm your host, Aaron Hartman.
That was good.
All right. Good enough.
Good enough. The
Good
Hartman
enough.
story.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Aaron.
It's good to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
So this is our third episode of La Jolla Babylon, and Sunday was Father's Day.
It sure was. Did you have a nice Father's Day?
I had a kind of an awesome Father's Day. Yeah. Alicia made a cake using black currants from the yard.
Whoa.
So it was like this sweet cake with like super sour, like tiny little berries kind of embedded in it. And it was amazing. The kids made me cards. And actually Elijah's card, you know, he did that thing, I forget what it's called, where, you know, each letter of a word has an
acrostic poem.
Acrostic. Thank you. So, but Elijah did one, and the word for F was friend. and it's like this thing where I'm kind of like, oh, that's so sweet. And I'm not your friend. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm still keeping you alive and trying to shepherd you into society.
Yeah,
but,
you're not
we do have fun
paying
together.
for half of your meal when we're out.
Yeah, we don't. That's right. Never gone Dutch with that kid. That 9-year-old has never bought me a drink, that kid. So this episode is the first that doesn't have... actually, there's a little bit of family in it. But it's mostly Adam sort of finding his people in middle school.
Great.
And I don't know, I went to the School of Creative and Performing Arts for 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I knew that.
Yeah, like I followed, basically Karen went there from 7th through 9th, and then she left in 10th, and then I started going the year after she left.
Okay.
So you know, I was basically like doing that thing where I was like, did you know my sister Karen? You know, kind of thing around. And
which also brings me up, we don't have to go into it, but when I texted you a couple days ago and I was like, have you told Karen or Ben that you're doing this?
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, if I haven't told them, it's not because I'm keeping it from them. You know, I mean, this is...
Yeah, you're just a busy dude.
Yeah, I'm just a busy dude who doesn't talk to my siblings very much.
Who has to create a podcast to create a sibling relationship.
Yeah, this is how I do intimacy. Microphones in darkened rooms 3,000 miles away.
Glad to be a part of it.
Screen off. Just kidding, we have our screens on. So, okay, so it's going to be chapters 10 through 13. Yeah, I don't know if any of this is going to be, I may accidentally say that I'm in high school in the writing, but it's actually, because the school that I went to was from 4th through 12th grade, but I was in 7th and 8th grade there. Okay, so, so this is a little catapult into the early stages of the adolescent stuff. And
Great.
I think those are fun.
Is there anything that you want me to pay attention to, especially?
No, I don't think so. But but I will say, if you're nervous about reading about me having sex, don't worry about that.
Wiping the sweat off my brow. Oof. Oh, thank goodness. Great.
All right. So I will send you the file and we will check back in when you're done listening.
Heck yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Terry Watkins. The School for Creative and Performing Arts was totally weird and gay and drugged out and free, but it was also a high school with a mean vice principal, math class, and bullies. I started out with my own personal bully by the name of Terry Watkins. We met in dance class. If you were to describe Terry to a sketch artist in court, the drawing would look a lot like me. He was a couple inches taller, but he was also blonde-mopped with brown eyes and a goofy walk. Before we'd ever met, people at school had a hard time telling us apart. We were both scrawny and shaggy and gravitated towards polyester pants and wildly ugly shirts. Also, our intense, pitiable, face-changing acne was nearly identical. His style was more street urchin than mine, and after we became friends, I understood why. I started taking general dance as a dare to myself. At SCPA, you could either take dance or PE, and at first I figured I should be open-minded. But Mr. 's tyranny was so harsh that I found myself shaking with fear and anger before and after each class. On one occasion, when he was teaching the class how to walk confidently, Mr. had the 3 boys strut across the room like big bad roosters, while he instructed the 40 girls in the class to hoot, holler, and laugh at us. Terry and I both stopped taking dance because Mr. was starting to enforce a dress code of unitards for the men. I winced when poor Terry showed up to class wearing his first unitard. Mr. spent the better part of roll call laughing at him. "Holy moly, little man. You look like my 9-year-old niece. Girls, I want you to take a good hard look at Mr. Man here because he's going to be the one to lift y'all up when it comes down to it. Gentlemen, I suggest you start pumping some iron, and ladies, I suggest you lose some weight. Holy moly." That was the day Terry started whipping me with his towel in the locker room. SCPA was a funny place to spend puberty. Terry liked to punch me in the hallway. He'd punch me in the arm or the stomach, sometimes the leg, but he would usually try to knock the wind out of me when I was looking the other way. I'm not sure what it was about me that was lucky enough to fan the flames of his rage, but he was focused on me like a cat on a one-winged pigeon. If the cat had ADHD and drank wine coolers in the bathroom throughout the day. If he saw me approaching in the corridors, he'd do things like snap his pencil in half and stab me with the broken end. Terry's violence towards me spiked until he was suspended for kicking in a drinking fountain. When he returned to school, for some reason, he started talking to me earnestly about music and girls and other friendly things, as if nothing ever happened. Influence. By 8th grade, I had made some friends and was getting used to my attention-starved classmates at the School of Creative and Performing Arts. This was 1986. Just say no was the mantra. Bi-monthly student assemblies were thrown together to warn us about the perils of drugs and drinking. Since SCPA was an arts magnet school, the administrators often brought young actors down from LA to lecture about their harrowing, near-death experiences. One familiar-looking panel joked around on the dais about the dangers of mixing Quaaludes and tequila. Later, while signing headshots, they also made sure we knew that either of them, in moderation, was pretty great. Terry told me one of my new friends was an undercover narcotics officer posing as a senior. He had a thin mustache, wore band shirts, and had a chain necklace with a guitar pick as the charm. His name was Mark. Since no one seemed to know him, and he did flutter about hovering around the seedier-looking kids, I assumed it was true. Mark the Narc carried a Led Zeppelin Trapper Keeper and wore a dirty, not Levi's, jean jacket covered in brand new, suspiciously incongruous band pins. One thing I understood early was that we were loyal to exactly one musical tribe. The specials did not belong on the same jacket as Judas Priest. Even I knew that. But I liked him. The costume he put together to attract a certain kind of kid worked on me. Even though I was pretty sure he was a narc, I still thought he was cool. Also, I couldn't help thinking, what if he was really just a new student? It made me sad to think this dork could transfer to a new school and be ostracized because of rumors and bad facial hair. I had never smoked anything or touched alcohol, but since my hair was getting long, people assumed I was into drugs. Mark the narc started talking to me and asking me obvious questions about things I was into doing after school. He once sat down on the concrete wall where I was perched during lunch. Mark had stooped shoulders and hooded green eyes. His teeth were the yellowest teeth I'd ever seen. He never stopped moving. Even when he was sitting, he was either cracking his knuckles or scratching the back of his head or air drumming. And when he had nothing else to do, he vibrated. Hey, man. Hey. Do you like to expand your mind, my man? What drugs do you like? I was embarrassed to admit it, but I said, I'm not really into drugs. He looked annoyed. Really? Not even weed? That's surprising. I thought about it, I guess. Within a week of this conversation, I was burning my throat, smoking Terry's shitty Mexican shake through a homemade tinfoil pipe, listening to Pink Floyd, alone, in my darkened bedroom. Trial. Terry would skip lunch all week so he could save up and buy a small bag of weed on Fridays. He would come home with me after school and show me his freshly composed collages and crayon drawings. He'd often stay all weekend. Before the unveiling, he would insist I share a bowl. Once fully high, he would reach into his giant surplus army backpack and reveal his new work. I looked forward to these moments. We'd sit on my bed and choke through tears of laughter. I would be escorted through my friend's wondrous, violent, and inscrutable mind. We would meld as he pointed out details that I missed, that he knew I'd missed, that were designed to be missed when unhigh or unchaperoned. I felt protective over Terry since I was sure I was the only one who recognized his genius. The first time I saw where Terry lived, one of our older friends from school was having a party on the beach. Terry invited a few guys over to drink beer at his house, which was literally spitting distance. According to Terry, he was born in Buffalo and transported cross-country by his burnout mother and alcoholic father. They soon divorced, leaving him to make the decision of who to live with. Terry chose to stay with his father in San Diego, and his mother moved to L.A. to pretend to write children's books. Terry's choice was based on the assumption that his father would be more lenient. At 10 years old, his path of least resistance was being groomed. Terry lived with his dad above a surfboard rental shop called Surf Zup. After we all clambered up the rickety, sun-bleached stairs, Terry opened the windows to let the apartment ventilate. Between the stale cigarette smoke and sockless shoes, the place cooked all day into a stifling, manly stew. The bedrooms looked out onto Mission Boulevard, which was the only street servicing this stretch of beach. Buses, tourists, lowriders, cat collars, ambulances, boomboxes duct-taped to handlebars, all about 15 feet below us. There were no doors, only strung-up beads to separate rooms, including the bathroom. This was not fancy beach living. We listened to the second side of plastic surgery disasters over and over. We put our warm Coors tall boys inside paper bags and drank them on the ratty couch or on the floor. I could only drink about half of one, but I was required to drink 6 in order to hang out properly. Terry's friend Vic encouraged me. Adam, what are you doing? Just fucking drink it. Stop being such a fucking pussy. It's fucking beer. My worlds collided as the picky eater in me battled with the teenager who wanted to be normal and get drunk on the beach with the other blonde kids who didn't care about anything. I admired Terry. I also admired his friends and their dedication to whatever it was they were into.
Some had tattoos, most smoked cigarettes, and would only smoke their brand. Your cigarette brand said as much about you as your taste in music. Some wore obscure band shirts that were already threadbare. None of these boys gave off any whiff of posing, as they made clever dick jokes, talked about their bands, and the people they knew in jail. I sat on the floor and arranged my face to mimic their ironic half-smiles. I held my beer, painfully aware that it was a prop I needed to stay unnoticed until I was ready to become one of them. I drank 3.5 beers and got to know that one side of that one record really well. We went out to the boardwalk to sit on the low wall and make fun of people. It was February, and we were all wearing shorts, kicking our skinny legs. Some girls approached from the distance. Terry punched my arm too hard. "Oh shit, it's my ex-girlfriend." "Which one?" "The cute one, dumb fuck." One girl started talking to Terry. Another sat next to me and asked me my sign. She wore shorts, a bikini top, and blue eyeshadow. I tried to do Jim Morrison from that Live Doors album. "I'm a Sagittarius, the most philosophical of all the signs, but I think it's a bunch of bullshit." "Oh." She fake smiled and leaned back to talk to a handsome punk guy sitting on the other side of me. We all eventually swung down from the wall and moved to the sandy beach and took over an abandoned bonfire. An hour later, the girl sat on my lap. "You're such an asshole. Why don't you believe in astrology? You're such a Sag." "How old are you anyway?" "I'm Lila." "I'm 14. I go to school with Terry. How do you know him?" "He used to try to make out with my roommate all the time. He's super cute, but he's way too dorky for her. Jamie likes her men a little more dangerous. Terry is way too sweet. You seem sweet. Where do you live?" "I live on Loring Street on the hill, above those houses that all look the same. I just moved there." "Wait, you do? Are you just saying that? Because I live on Loring Street. Toward the end. Which one's yours?" "The ugly white one, trying to look like it's on Miami Vice." "No fucking way. I know that fucking house. It's so fucking ugly. We have to hang out sometime. No one lives over there. It's so boring. Give me your phone number and we'll totally hang out." Terry was standing behind her, making his eyebrows go up and down like Groucho Marx. Totally." I had my backpack with me, and I dug around looking for a pencil. I gave her my number, never expecting her to call. The girls left us to party at a well-known surfer's house. They made sure we understood we were not invited. Terry and I were on our own, and he wanted me to come with him to visit his dad's friend. We wove in and out of the alleys of Mission Beach, between the boardwalk and the busy boulevard, which ran up and down the coast. It was a shanty neighborhood of aging hippies who moved there before anyone thought about how valuable the beachfront property might become. They seemed to thoroughly enjoy their rotting wood porches, housing surfboards, charcoal grills, and planters of jade. We went to 7-Eleven, and Terry bought a bottle of No-Dos. He popped a handful. "Here, take 6 or they won't work." Terry had me wait outside a darkened house while he bought or sold pot for his dad. I didn't ask. As I leaned against the stucco wall, I watched cops speed down the alley with their lights off. I saw a shirtless man in a Jeep parallel park while drinking a beer. I heard a muffled sound just behind me, which turned out to be a possum the size of a carry-on suitcase. I stood in the dark, waiting for my friend, who used to be my tormentor. Terry walked out with his backpack fastened around his chest. The life my parents thought they were providing for me was changing. An hour later, I was desperately trying to sleep. I had no idea where I was. Terry was out cold next to me on his side, using his backpack as a pillow. We did not know whose porch we were camping on, but he seemed to think it would be cool. Seriously, Mission Beach is super mellow, full of bums. These guys will probably sleep all day. I do this all the time and nothing's ever happened to me. Despite the random Charlie horses and the teasing I endured, I was starting to trust this ragamuffin. Terry was my guide, and I had pretty much signed up for whatever. I lay on the damp wood, trying not to throw up, terrified I would get arrested for vagrancy. The window I was parked below was open, and I could hear a radio whispering a relationship advice show. I was probably 5 feet from whoever was sleeping inside. I closed my eyes and knew everything was going to be okay. Lila. It took about an hour for me to walk home from Terry's house. Before getting to my street, I had the option of going around the school on the corner or cutting through the field, which would require me to climb a 12-foot fence. Straddling the fence, I contemplated how much more energy it can take to take the shortcut. Once I got home, I told Sharon that I met a girl. "What's her name?" "Pretty sure it's Lila." It was dark, and we only talked for a few minutes. "She wants to hang out with me." "Do you like her? I mean, are you thinking about going out with her?" I thought about Lila, her Virginia Slims, her hand on my leg, and the image of her pulling a can of hairspray out of her bag at midnight on the beach and giving herself a once-over. No, not like as a boyfriend, but kind of. I mean, she's cool, you know. She's a few years older than me and really pretty. It doesn't sound like you like her very much. Do you really want your first girlfriend to be someone you only sort of like? I think it would make you really sad to date someone you were ashamed to be with. Sharon had just come back from her morning run. Her face was red, and she was drinking ice water out of a giant mason jar. The kitchen table was messy with her college applications. She had written a funny personal essay about me for her Princeton app that I liked a lot. She wrote about her slacker brother, whom she admired for doing his own thing. I was coming to understand that this was my family's go-to view of me. I don't think she wants to be my girlfriend. She's kind of slutty. Wait. Sharon closed her eyes. Her nostrils flared. You don't want to hang out with her, but you want to have sex with her? Now she was looking straight at me. Do you see how this is hurtful to women? You need to be honest with her, no matter what kind of girl you think she is. Sharon was determined to make me a feminist. The next afternoon, Lila called and told me to come to her house. I had an hour before carpool would pick me up, so I walked the 3 blocks to a 1-story house at the end of my street. Jamie answered the door and told me Lila was out by the pool. I went through the dark house, stepping over dog shit and beer cans. The screen door was off its hinges, tilted sideways. I lifted it up, walked past it, and stepped toward the filthy pool. Could you put the screen door back, please? We're trying to keep the flies out. I leaned the screen door back against the frame, leaving huge unprotected gaps at the corners. Thanks. Now get over here. I sat cross-legged next to her. Lila was wearing the same bikini top and cut-off jeans from the other night, and had her legs submerged among the rotting leaves. She stubbed out her cigarette and placed the half-smoked butt back into the pack. Hey, let's go inside. I got up and followed her, replacing the screen door as we entered. Jamie was watching Press Your Luck on a giant console TV. Without looking up, she casually stated, "You two are going to have sex." We walked into a clean bedroom and sat on the rosy bedspread. Pier 1 Imports potpourri wafted through the house. My mom lives here, but she's gone for a while. Me and Jamie are watching it for her. How long can you stay? Oh, I have to be back home by 3:45. For what? I have confirmation class. It's like Hebrew school, but not really. It's actually pretty cool. Mostly hanging out. We watch movies, but whatever. Hearing myself say Hebrew school in this house rang out like an alarm clock. Lila lay down on the bed and put her head on my lap, facing up towards me. I could smell her deodorant. So you have to go kind of soon? That's too bad. Should I close the door? For what? I realized that if anybody would let me kiss her, it was this girl. My heart was hammering. I leaned down and put my face close to hers. I also took this opportunity to put my hand on her breast. She laughed. God, forward, are we? I moved my hand and kissed her, and our teeth touched. The clicking sound was so loud. I went in again, and it was slightly better. Her tongue was warm and a little upsetting. I wanted more, mostly to see if it would get less gross. I sat up and said, "Hey, Lila, I like you and I respect you, but you should know that I'm not, ready to be your boyfriend. If you want to fool around sometime, that would be cool, but please don't take this." What? Oh my God, Jamie, get in here. Adam basically just told me he respects me as a friend, but doesn't want to be my boyfriend. Jamie stood in the doorway, eating an uncooked Pop-Tart, smiling. That's so sweet.
Okay.
Okay, welcome back.
Oh man, I loved this. I thought this was so sweet and fun, and also it's so funny because me growing up thinking about you just being very cool.
And now you know.
Yeah, but I feel like it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's complicated. It's complicated being young and dumb.
Yeah, especially when nobody was keeping track of you.
Oh my God, no one was keeping track of me.
It is such a difference between our adolescences.
Well, at your house, you had that alarm, first of all. So every time a door opened, the alarm would go beep, 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 beep.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And you could not sneak out of that house.
Well,
Did
I
you
also
ever sneak out
never
of your house?
tried. No.
Yeah, I just snuck out all the time.
Yeah.
But also I was allowed to sleep over at friends' houses without my parents knowing who the kids were, which seems insane to me. Do you know what I mean?
Real quick, my computer's gonna stop. Just gonna shut down really quick. Let me just grab my plug. Give me 2 seconds.
Oh yeah. Yeah, crawl out of your little closet. Katie's recording studio is actually, when she says it's a closet, she just moved and opened the little sliding door, and I actually see coats surrounding the chair that she's in. I mean, I knew it was a closet, but it's a closet that they use as a closet. I see her legs as she's going around. This is what the show is now.
Good. Real time, Katie scrambling to try and figure out how to plug in her computer.
Do you ever leave your computer charged overnight so it's nice and charged when you wake up in the morning?
Yeah, Aaron, I do. And in fact, it was pretty charged.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have anybody in my life that was, or that because, let me start over. In terms of the mask thing, I feel like so many, that is just such a teenage thing.
Oh, I mean, I remember all of a sudden not knowing what to do with my hands, and just or not knowing how to cross a room.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like how am I supposed to get from here to there? Everyone's going to look at me. You know what I mean? And just and that's also goes back to the world revolving around you kind of thing where,
sure,
no one's looking at you. I mean, I always felt like I was wearing a mask, in every room that I was in, but there are some kids who just were not.
Yeah.
Like those boys who I was talking about drinking beer at my friend's house.
Yeah.
There's something about this kind of culture of just, dudes who could just sort of skate and surf and, whatever, and just had this aura of just actual coolness.
Yeah. I love that you took dance class. I love that you took dance class. I think that even early on, I think that even just yes, I'm going to challenge myself Even if like a weekend you're like, this was a bad idea.
Yeah. I can still do the single and double time step.
Really?
Shuffle, hop, step, flap, step. Yeah, I can
Wow.
still do it.
That's
I mean,
fun.
it looks, I'm exactly as clumsy as I was when I was that age, but yeah.
I just like, I don't understand teachers who love to humiliate their students.
Well, this guy, and I forgot to change his name, but so yeah, Mr. is like,
Is he still
like
alive?
I swear to God, you say that name. I don't know. He probably not. But you say that name to, a generation or two of people who went there, and like they will have instant PTSD of just, because that guy, he was basically, the story was that he was, a failed dancer.
Sure.
And the other story is that he only taught general dance, and then like maybe like the 1 year after that, but he didn't have the skills to teach advanced dance. And because there were 2 other dance teachers in the school, and so I think he also had a chip on his shoulder about that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do. It's also so funny that you know this, even if it's not true. Like that was also the thing that was like everyone said.
That was the narrative, and you just felt that wrath.
Oof. Did you ever take dance class after that, like in anywhere
no.
else? No.
No.
Would you do it now?
Would I do it now? Oh, you took tap recently.
Recently, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not avoiding your question, but I'll sidestep it.
Okay.
How is taking tap dance as a full-on adult?
So fun. Even just like a little win was a huge win. But my favorite story from that, you can cut this or not, but I show up and I'm feeling pretty ill. Like I'm just like feeling like I have a cold or something, but I want to like not miss class. So I go up and I'm like, it's okay. I'm really not feeling well, blah, blah. And she looks at me and she's just like, Katie. Oh, she was, I think she's French. She's like, Katie. Maybe she's Spanish. I can't remember. God, some real nice European, very cool.
Yeah. Cool accent.
Katie, do you know what I do?
Okay, so she's French.
Well, this is my memory. Do you know what I do when I don't feel well? I tap it out. Tap it out, Katie. And I surely tapped it out. I was like, okay, yep, okay.
I tap it out.
And that's how I spread COVID-19. Just kidding.
That's right.
And at one point, our teacher made me do it by myself. And then she looked at the class and she was just like, class, does Katie get it right every time? And everyone sort of stops and is like, no. And then she was like, but does she look interesting doing it?
Oh.
And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's so nice.
Oh, that's a good lesson.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I was like trying. I was like really trying.
Yeah. That's how I think about music.
Yeah.
Like what I lack in understanding about musical theory, I make up for in enthusiasm.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's cool. I like it.
Oh, it's also, I feel like junior high very much also is a time where you're a person who you're not friends with suddenly you're friends with, and vice versa.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It's so strange. Because there is an intimacy of like getting bullied.
Yeah, and this kid, like my bully, there's actually I wrote this whole thing that I took out where, and I actually just told Elijah this story. So my bully basically was like, he was really mean. Like he would like stomp on my foot and just like whatever it was. And one day he dead armed me and I hit him in the stomach with, kind of like did like a backhanded punch.
Yeah.
And I knocked the wind out of him. And he was like, I'm going to fucking kill you. And I was like, and we sat next to each other in art class, because this is fucking SCPA. And he starts poking me with the compass, like the pointy end of the compass. And blood started coming out of my hand because he was like, and so I had been taking aikido for about 3 years at that time. And I swear to God this is true. I grabbed his hand that was holding the compass, and I did this move. It was like this wrist lock where you kind of like turn their wrist towards their chest, and it kind of like creates this really painful wrist lock where it's so he can't move. And if I like at that point even just like turn my hand a little bit, like that, you really feel it. So he was on the floor and I'm sitting in the chair, because before he was like, I'm gonna beat you up after class, blah blah blah. And so I'd be like, okay, so will you promise that you're not gonna, hit me or hurt me after class? He's like, yeah, I promise. And I swear to God, another girl in the class said, stop it, you're hurting him, to me. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. like me having this kid in the wrist lock and having this girl like be like really worried for him.
Yeah.
Because of me.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever come close to that.
Wow.
That was the best thing that's ever
chasing
happened
that
to me.
power dragon.
Yeah, that's yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to find that again.
Well, have you ever thought about paying someone to bully you and then like just recreating that moment somewhere public so someone
Wow.
Stop it, you're hurting him. You can pay for anything these days. It's just that seems like a TaskRabbit thing.
It seems like a Nathan Fielder kind of
yeah.
thing. No, but so he I let him out of the wrist lock, and he stands up and goes, I'm gonna get my gang friends to fucking kill you after school. He didn't have any gang. There were actual gang members in our school, but like he didn't do that. But anyway, so that was like, and then 3 months later, we were like drinking beer on the beach.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's insane.
But maybe it's also like
I was fearing for, I feared for my life.
Yeah.
Like I really thought that like he was going to actually kill me.
The fact that he was like stabbing you with that fucking compass.
I know.
It's just, and that nobody was doing anything. What were these teachers doing?
That teacher was arrested for molesting students.
I see. So too busy molesting
He was,
intervene.
yeah, he was a bad dude. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, but I think he may have done some jail time. I'm not sure.
Good. I hope
But
he did.
But that is literally why I could get stabbed in class.
Wild.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how are we feeling about this? Should we kind of wrap this guy up?
Oh, there was one other thing. I love Karen trying to make you a feminist and you like responding to that in that way. I would think that's so funny. The end of that story is so funny. Like, just being very clear. These just so like saying the most mature thing, but because like you're just like parroting somebody else.
God.
Amazing.
Just the humiliation just like it's like comes down in waterfalls at that age.
Oh
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
And like all you're trying to do is like do the right thing and like,
Yeah, and just like coming out of my mouth, and these girls, I don't actually know what their story was. I don't think I ever saw either of them again after that day because it, didn't really work out. But yeah, it's a nightmare to try to say those kinds of mature things when they're just like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what? I respect you as a person. It's like, why? So bad.
Because it's sexy. Listen, talking like that is very sexy.
I mean, it is now.
It is now. But even still coming out of the mouth of a 13-year-old would be the most awkward thing.
I'm sure that you know this one story coming up, but and I won't get too much into it, but I started learning, started playing bass when I was in 8th grade, and by the time I was in 9th grade, I was not good, but I conned my way into advanced band. Yes. With some really very humiliating experiences along the way.
Perfect. Can't wait.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks for listening and joining and
thanks for sharing your humiliation.
Oh my God. I'm so happy to finally have a voice. I finally have a voice.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
I think that's good. Glad to be a part of it.
Screen off. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please tell a friend and subscribe. Your 5-star rating will help others find this fucking podcast. Please check out the show notes for links to Katie's comedy and a full transcript of the show. La Jolla Babylon Season 1, The Making of a Suburban Punk, was written, produced, and edited by Aaron Hartman, with music by Aaron Hartman, co-piloted by Katie Hartman, presented in association with Ruinous Media. To hear more episodes of this show or other Ruinous Media podcasts, please go to ruinousmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts.